Hey, what's up guys, welcome back to the channel. In today's episode, we're continuing on the series with oscillating multi-tool blades, and in today's episode, we're going to be checking out blades that you can, be found at your local Lowe's because that's where we found them. All right, so, most everybody knows those buzz saws are really only as good as the blades you use on them, which is, obviously true. So you want to be using a good blade, right? But which blades are actually worth it? Is it worth buying the cheap blades, or do you want to spend the money for the carbide blades, right? So we're going to be checking out the Craftsman bimetal wood with nails blade. And we're also going to be checking out the Dremel carbide tipped blades, which are, I would say, fairly priced for a carbide tipped blade, okay? So interestingly enough, at the two Lowe's that we went to, the Craftsman brand does not have a carbide tipped blade, at least not one that we found on OMT, which is kind of why we're checking out the Dremels, okay? So hopefully we're going to find out some good results, figure out how they stack up against other blades on the leaderboard. So you don't want to miss this. Stick with us. All right, so this right here is the Craftsman CMAO103 bimetal blade. General purpose, says right here, wood with nails. This one obviously still is very early from the manufacturing or packaging process, whatever you want to call it. And as you can see here, the teeth are, a little bit more pronounced than a normal bimetal blade, as you see, but the teeth right there are pretty good. So we'll see how well that does on the track, okay? Doesn't say any markings on here of the model number, but we'll go ahead and show you that packaging in a second. Actually, just take a look at it right now. So this right here is for general purpose. I bought a 3-piece set, CMAO103, and this product right here is manufactured in Vietnam. So in case you have seen the DeWalt video, the DeWalt OMT blades are also manufactured in Vietnam. So, that's what's interesting with, SB&D or SBD, but, that's what's really going on here. This is a 3-pack, and this blade will cost you somewhere around about $10 to $13, maybe even $14, depending on if you buy a 1-pack or a 3-pack or something like that. So this blade is not cheap, let's just say, all right? So this right here is the Dremel Carbide tipped blade, also for universal quick fit. And as you can see right here on this blade, there's actually markings in millimeters, for depth gauge if you're trying to do like a plunge cut, trying to figure out, how far you're getting in. But, try to read that while using it. Yeah, good luck. Here's inches in scale for the same depth gauge, but Dremel Carbide, you can see here it's got the yellow teeth. There's nothing else on the back side of here, but we'll take a look at the packaging. As you can see here with these carbide teeth are pretty much what you would expect for a carbide tipped blade. If you want to look at the profile or the thickness of the blade, it's pretty good up there. But this blade definitely seems a lot more sturdy or stiff than, this bimetal blade. But we're talking about bimetal versus carbide here. So let's go take a look at the packaging here. So this is the Dremel MM485B, and I bought the 3-pack. At the store, I did realize, there's a 1-pack, 3-pack, and I think there may have even been a 5-pack. But this blade here will cost you roughly around $15-ish, okay? Because you got a 3-pack for roughly around $45, $46. It's roughly about a $15 per blade. And according to Dremel's marketing, it's, carbide tip blades will give you about 30 times the life, whereas the bimetal blades will give you 15 times the life. And if you get just wood blades, that's pretty much what you're comparing to, right? So you get wood blades getting you 15 times life with bimetal, and then 30 times life with carbide. So does that work out, in testing wood with nails? Well, let's go find out. Before we forget, this blade is made in Switzerland. All right, so let's take a look at the damage done to this blade. So this is the Craftsman wood with nails bimetal blade, and as you can see here, the teeth on this bimetal blade are just completely rounded off, at least the teeth that were, you know, used in the, or contacted the material during the testing process. So edge teeth pretty good, but this teeth right here completely rounded off. You're not really going to be getting anywhere with that. You could probably get some life out of the edge if you wanted to, but you know, not getting anywhere with that. Okay, let's go take a look at a brand new blade and compare it to that. Okay, let's go look at it this way. So if you look at the top blade, the blade on top is pretty much, you know, used up. You can see right there. Blade on the bottom is brand new. If you want to look at it this way, blade on top right here is actually new. Blade on the bottom, all used up. So that's what you're getting with the Craftsman blade. Let's go take a look at the carbide tipped Dremel blade. As you can see here, if you look very closely at the teeth are all there. None of them have been fractured. All the carbide is there. So that's probably something to be said about the manufacturing process. The problem right now is that because the teeth aren't very well pronounced, the few that are being used or contacting the metal that you are cutting are just not very sharp. So if you leave the blade there on the material long enough, you'll probably just be able to burn through it, but you're not going to be getting a good cut, as you already saw already. Actually, no, take that back. If you look at the back side, there's a chunk of carbide missing from the back side of the blade here, but the tooth, if you look at it from the front side, is still there. So that's interesting to look at. Let's take a look at compared to a brand new blade. So the brand new blade is the one obviously on the bottom, and the one on top is used. Okay, so look at that. Just a small bit of comparison, but it still wasn't able to make its way through that structural GRK R4 screw. So that's probably something to look at there. If you want to look at it this way, look at that, check that out. There's that chip in the carbide right there. Like I said, the teeth are all still there. You're just not getting a lot of cutting action with it, mainly because if you look at the depth of the teeth, or the pronounce, or how, you know, how much the teeth actually stick out, they don't stick out that much. So, you know, it's going to be hard to, you know, damage or break off the teeth all the way, but because the teeth don't stick out that much, you're not going to be chipping away at it pretty well. All right, so let's go take a look at the recap of the numbers, all right? And because this is on episode 3, let's just go out and say this. The test track is the same. Everything is set up at the same angle. We're using the same tool, we're using the same battery. We're using everything the same way and performing the tests pretty much all the same way. So the data is normalized and we are able to draw some pretty good conclusions, all right? So let's go take a look at how the Craftsman CMAO103 bimetal wood and nails blade did. All right, so the Craftsman wood and nails blade, it completed the 16D framing nail test just fine. It cut all 10 of the nails in about 13.65 seconds. All right, and then it moved on to the drywall screw test, which it failed after cutting one drywall screw. Okay, so after cutting one drywall screw, it just, you know, just wasn't able to go any further. So we just said did not finish, and it did cut one and failed. Smoke started going up and all kinds of stuff was happening. All right, and just in case you missed it earlier, this blade is made in Vietnam. All right, so with that being said, let's go take a look at the Dremel quick fit carbide tipped cutting technology blade. All right, so the MM485 blade, the Dremel blade, which carbide tipped, cut all 16D framing nails just fine, and it cut all 16D framing nails just fine, which is 10 nails, and it took about 22.72 seconds. And then it moved on to the drywall screws, which it did cut all 10 of those just fine in about 144.18 seconds. And then when it got to the structural screws, it told a different story. So when it got to the GRK R4 structural screws, it was unable to cut a single screw, and then, you know, did not finish, so it just failed after that. All right, so it cut a total of 20 fasteners. And just in case you missed it earlier when we introduced the blade, this blade is made in Switzerland. So let's go take a look at leaderboard and see where they rank up. First, the CMAO103 Craftsman bimetal blade with a total number of 11 fasteners cut puts it currently in second place on the leaderboard, which is pretty good considering, you know, there's right now 5 blades on the leaderboard. So it's right behind the DeWalt carbide tipped blade and right in front of the Integra Tools Platinum Series bimetal blade. All right, but it won't be there too much longer because it's about to get knocked down to number 3 on the leaderboard by the Dremel brand. So the Dremel brand MM485B carbide tipped extreme cutting technology blade, actually with 20 fasteners cut, takes second place from the Craftsman, and is now Craftsman is now in third. Dremel is in second place on the leaderboard. Okay, so with 20 fasteners cut, all nails, all drywall screws, and it took, you know, a good amount of time for it to get there. So we just said it is in second place. All right, so the leaderboard now looks like this: the DeWalt wood with nails carbide tipped blade, then the Dremel brand, and then the Craftsman, and then the Integral Tools, then the Milwaukee titanium bimetal blade, and then the DeWalt bimetal blade wood with nails with 9 fasteners cut. Okay, so what can we say about these blades? Let's go take a quick recap. Would I go out and buy these Craftsman blades again? You know, I'm going to say that's going to be a hard no, mainly because that's nothing against Craftsman or anything like that. But these blades cost roughly around, in this 3-pack configuration, around $13, $12, $14 a blade. That's kind of a lot for a bimetal blade because it only cut 11 fasteners, okay? Whereas you can argue and say, yeah, you could buy those Integral Tools blades. Well, right, actually, you technically can't because they're not sold on Amazon anymore, but you could buy some Amazon blade for like $2 or $3 and get probably close to the same performance for significantly less. That's probably why I would not buy that again, unless you were in a pinch and that was the only blade you obviously could get. Then, you know, obviously you got other problems. But the Dremel MM485B blade, that blade costs right around $15-ish per blade. This thing right here, is a 3-pack, at least the one that I got, and it was somewhere around like $15-ish. Would I go out and buy that again? That's gonna be really difficult to say, mainly because yes, the carbide tips, you know, survived pretty well, but it was unable to cut through the structural fasteners. Well, I mean, it did take damage from the drywall screws and the framing nails, whatnot, eventually, right? And then it got to the structural screws, but it just wasn't able to cut through it. So would I go out and buy that blade again? Probably not, mainly because it just wasn't able to cut hardened material, or hard material, let's just say, right? You could argue drywall screws, yes, it did cut, but I could also argue the DeWalt carbide tipped blade cut all of them just fine, and it did, you know, complete that challenge. But that blade is about $24, whereas the Dremel branded blade is around $15. So what I would probably say is, if you're going to buy a bimetal blade, I wouldn't buy the bimetal blade for around $10 or something like that. I would just pay the $5 more and get the Dremel carbide tipped cutting technology blade, because you're probably going to get a lot more performance than a bimetal blade that's going to be in the store for right around $10, right? The $5 is probably going to be worth it, right? So, but if you are going to be cutting hard material, you obviously want to get right now, the DeWalt wood with nails carbide tipped blade, DWA4250, all right? So, that's all we can say. All right, so what can we say about this? You know, they're all great stuff. Hopefully this information is going to help you out and you can figure out which blades you need to get for the job you're about to do. Other than that, you know, that's all I can really say. So hopefully you've helped you guys out. Have a great day. Get back to working. We'll see you guys next time.